Did you know that the terms long haul, POTS, dysautonomia are just fancy schmancy medical terms that are actually used to describe the same set of symptoms? Number two, did you know that hormone imbalances, in fact, is the missing link as to why so many people with POTS, long haul, and dysautonomia don't recover? So, without further ado, we're going to break the lid wide open on this topic. And without further ado, here we go.
Nice drum roll.
It's like, hey, everybody. I'm Maggie MD. I'm a functional and holistic medicine physician and an MD who is the founder of Transform and NYMD. And today we are here with my favorite co-host, Kathy Ryan. Kathy, I would love for you to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Kathy Ryan. I am a registered holistic nutritionist and a certified Transform instructor. And what that means is I've been working with Dr. Maggie a long time, and I consider myself her co-conspirator. Yes. So some of my areas of expertise include hormones. And I'm getting to be a little bit of an expert in POTS, although I'll leave that to you, Dr. Maggie.
A lot of an expert in POTS.
And so I'm just really happy to be here because I know we are going to be talking about things tonight that a lot of people don't know about the connection between POTS and hormones.
Yeah. First thing first, though, a little bit of housekeeping. All of you guys that are watching, I would love for you to, we don't like to talk at you. I want to talk with you. So everybody, blow us up in chat. Tell me where you're watching from. If you're an alumni of any of our programs, type in chat. Tell us where you are with your health journey right now. If you're new to us, I would love to hear. Give me some deets, right? Tell me a little bit of what's going on with your health. What are some things that you're struggling to solve right now in your health for 2025? Put that in the chat. That'd be really great. I would love to get to know more of you better. There's a lot. I'm seeing in chat, Cindy from Ohio is watching. Thank you. Jonathan's watching from Washington. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. Kate is watching from Philly. I love it. We got some oldies and goodies here and newbies here. So thanks. I would love to get to know more of you. Today, couple things. All right. So first thing first is I want to share a little bit of my own journey with long haul POTS and dysautonomia. And a lot of people don't know this. And I haven't shared this journey publicly. This would be the first time. But for me, my journey started in 2022 when I came down with a big C. And as a result of it, I developed long haul symptoms. And as part of that, I started to develop symptoms. Pay attention to these symptoms, everybody. And you might want to write it down, okay? But think about these symptoms, okay? I lost hair. I got into severe brain fog. I went into insomnia. I had severe blood pressure changes, like a lot of low blood pressure, actually, that I initially thought was low blood sugar. My blood sugar swings were really swinging wildly. Tachycardia, meaning a fast heart rate, and then slow heart rate, back and forth, back and forth. And it just had this feeling constantly like my heart was racing throughout the day multiple times to the point where I started to wonder myself, like, was it anxiety? Was it not? Even medical providers who were dealing with me was thinking, oh, it's anxiety related, or it's your thyroid or other autoimmune issues or blood sugar. All blood work came back normal. And finally, I'm a hormone expert. So of course I'm going to be testing my hormones. I tested my hormones and they displayed a very unique pattern that I was very surprised by because I haven't had that kind of pattern in a very long time in my health journey. And that's when it started to dawn on me, whoa, there's a big hormonal component to this. Yeah. And as I started, very quickly addressing my hormonal symptoms with this, my POTS-related symptoms went down like within 2 months, about 90%. And mind you, at the same time, I am a POTS expert. And Kathy lovingly refers to me as
Dr. POTS.
Dr. POTS. And pants, not pants. And we in the way that we work with clients, we get some of the toughest cases of POTS, long haul, and dysautonomia. And I'm not joking about that, right? And so it was really interesting that as I started testing my own hormones, we were also testing hundreds of people's hormones who had POTS long haul and dysautonomia, and we saw the same pattern.
Yes. And I think people may not understand that, because this is something that I like to really emphasize with people, the difference between you testing hormones and a regular functional doctor testing hormones. The amount of hormone tests that we test, the amount of people we test for hormones in a month is probably equal to what most doctors would test in a year or two.
This is natural. But we're talking about naturopaths and functional medicine physicians, right? Because forget about your regular doctor, because your regular doctor won't test your hormones, or they're doing blood work with it, which is not the best way to test hormones at all. And you'll learn about why that is the case. But even being that, a lot of people with POTS long haul dysautonomia like says, I want a root cause approach to this. I want to go natural. I want to do the medications and the regular doctors can't help with. I understand, right, that you believe in a different healthcare model with this, right? But what is the right strategy when it comes to dealing with hormones? Even if you're going to see a naturopath or functional medicine doctor, that doesn't mean they know how to test your hormones correctly. That also doesn't mean they understand what those patterns are, especially if they do 20 a year, or maybe, seriously, that's the volumes that we're talking about. So for me, doing hundreds of these, I was able to see patterns emerge really quickly. And it was almost like, Kathy, you and I are just like, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one, right? So we're able to make connections that other people don't. So this is why, today we are focusing on why hormones is the missing connection in dealing with POTS long haul and dysautonomia. Now, we are going to go into defining what some of you are like, what are they talking about? What is POTS and dysautonomia and long haul? And so I just went through some of those really common symptoms. And I'm going to also tell you that 90% of the people we work with never get even these diagnoses, these fancy schmancy medical terms. They have these symptoms of heart rate going up. And right now, as I'm going through the symptoms in chat, if any of them apply to you, hit me up. Just type that symptom in chat. Okay. I want to show everybody and our community just how much this is happening and how common this is, and how it's so mis and underdiagnosed, or not even diagnosable. So think about it. How many of you have blood pressure that goes up and down, right? How many of you have vertigo, meaning dizziness that comes and goes and is progressively getting worse? Nausea can be associated with it. How many of you notice that there is heart rate that will seemingly go fast for a period of time and then later go slow a period of time? And you've been to the emergency room and the EKG is fine. You've been to the cardiologist. You've done even certain tilt table tests, this, and they tell you, no, you don't fit the criteria for anything specific. But yet these symptoms are real, right? And at the same time, there are other symptoms that are like, you're so tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? And what about the brain fog? Right? Yeah. I saw Rhiannon in chat, and Eric says dizziness. Dizziness is another name for vertigo, right? Or some symptom, or dysautonomia. The top symptom for POTS and dysautonomia is really the dizziness. Yeah. That's unexplainable by your doctors, and yet it's real.
And just to give an idea of how serious an issue this is for so many of our clients, when we are talking to clients and we say, what needs to change? Like, what are you not able to do right now? And they're like, I just want to be able to go to the grocery store without passing out. I want to be able to walk to the mailbox. I want to be able to walk to the mailbox and feel confident to walk to the mailbox.
Last week, if you guys missed it, I did an interview with Sky, who's a fashion photographer. And that's exactly what she said the first time I met her on her first meeting with us. She said, I just want to live. I just want to be able to, get on I just want to get on. She's from England. I want to get on the tube. I want to be able to go grocery shop. I want to self-care for myself. Right. And guess what? What do you say? Bury the lead. We're burying the lead. But last week she shared with us that a year later now, she is in Australia. She is skydiving.
Yeah.
Okay. Skydiving. Right. But the thing is, how do you go from A to B? Right. It seems impossible out there. A lot of people don't believe themselves that they could get better. And they certainly don't believe there's someone out there who knows what the heck they're talking about that can fix this problem. Right. There's a belief problem with belief. How many of you fill into that category. You don't believe that you can get better, or you don't believe there's a doctor or a provider out there or a team out there that really understands this better than anybody else in the world that can fix this problem.
And the other thing we see all the time is people are waiting for a diagnosis. So
Yeah.
they're waiting 6 to 8 months for a tilt table test or waiting to see a cardiologist.
Yeah.
And those things are not going to help you get better. They may give you an official label for something for your symptoms, but they're not going to do anything to actually help reverse the symptoms that you have and get you back to living your life.
Well, I apply to myself what I apply to the clients we work with, which is I don't care what the diagnosis is. I want these symptoms to go away. Right. And that's where I was. And for me, I didn't qualify necessarily for any of those diagnoses per se, because honestly, all those diagnoses, many of them is really just a set of symptoms. And for POTS particular, POTS stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which means postural means positional change. Orthostatic means that when you change those positions, you get the tachycardia, fast heart rate syndrome, right? It's just a description of a set of symptoms, right? And so how many people fill that criteria? Many. But then they take testing that is considered tilt table test. And I have many great cardiologist friends who even say, you tested negative for the tilt table test, but that doesn't mean you don't have POTS. I love that many of my cardiologist friends are actually starting to recognize that, colleagues, because they're listening to what I'm saying here, right? So you don't need a diagnosis. And I know firsthand about that because we firsthand get the hardest cases after people have gone to Mayo, after people have gone to Johns Hopkins, after people have gone to Stanford, and they either got the label or didn't get the label. The ones that are quote unquote, I guess, lucky enough to get the label are like, well, then they said there was nothing, they're there to diagnose it, but there's nothing that they can do to really help me. Right. So then what use is that? So a lot of the time is spent and resources is spent wasted trying to get a name to it. And you don't need a name. I want to free you of that name. You don't need a name. You don't need a diagnosis. We can just fix the problem.
Oh, look at this comment, Dr. Maggie. Our doctor told us that our daughter just needs to learn to live with it and manage it. Learn her new normal. Oh, that breaks my heart. How old is she?
It doesn't break my heart. I have the opposite. It fires me up, Tammy. Because I'm looking at this, I'm like, let me have at you. Let me have at her. Because that is not true. And I'll be honest, in their world, it's true. Yeah. You know, these are my friends. These are my colleagues. I'm a medical doctor. They're MDs as well. That are saying these things, but it simply isn't true. POTS, dysautonomia, and long haul are fixable problems. And in fact, I'm going to say this, take this to the bank, everybody. Balancing the hormones is the missing link. Okay. And it's a big topic. Okay. It's huge. I can't even claim to tell you that we're going to tell you everything there is to know about that, which is why for me, I want to extend a really big invitation. Okay. Next week, we're going to be doing a total hormone reset, 5-day hormone reset. It's called Love Yourself, 5-day hormone reset, where yours truly gets to work with me truly, and yours truly get to work together in a live workshop next week, every single day. And it's Love Yourself, 5 days for hormone reset. And there are still seats available. And so all you have to do is either we're going to supply the link in chat or comment reset in the comment section right now. We'll get the link to you to claim your seat to join me live and Kathy live and the rest of the Transform team, because we're going to be having the opportunity to work an entire week, Tammy, with you, with your daughter, right? And anyone else. Eric is here for his family as well. Any of you that wants to spend an entire week around this topic of hormones, I can't wait to have that time to go over all these pieces, right? And so I wanted to extend that invite. There are still seats available for that workshop. So make sure you check that out, type reset in chat, or there should be a link above or below this video where you can register to join me and our team next week in our Hormone Reset Live Workshop Week. Now, let's go through what are some of the ways, with surprising ways, that hormone imbalances are linked with POTS, long haul, and dysautonomia that your doctor doesn't know about, right? So not even you, your doctor doesn't even know about. Trust me, because doctors come to me to treat this problem. I see them and I see their families. How many doctors have we seen? Medical doctors have we seen with these? Exactly. We have interviews. Elisa is a great example, family medicine practitioner. And how many doctors bring their family members or refer their patients to us because out there is not a treatable problem. But here, I would love to say, you know what? We take care of POTS before breakfast, and then I go eat my breakfast of champions. Give me some lunch, give me some dinner, right? So it is very different here. And I would love those of you that are watching right now, if you're an alumni of any of our programs or you've had POTS dysautonomia long haul, where are your results now? Type it in chat. Why don't you share? You don't have to believe me, but I want you to believe real people and their real outcomes. If they could share it in chat, that'd be really great. Would love to see some of the alumni show. Olivia K is here. I love it. Thank you.
Maggie, I also wanted to say too, like you said doctors are sending their patients to us. But the other cool thing that we're doing is we're training doctors.
Yes.
So we're actually training doctors. So Tasha is one of our doctors that is in the Certified Transform Instructor Program. And she came in because both her and her daughter have POTS symptoms. And she sees a lot of patients with POTS symptoms. And so not only do doctors send their patients, they're coming to us to get trained.
Yeah, we have an incredible certification program where we mentor medical doctors, naturopaths, functional medicine providers to really understand some of the things that we're going to be talking about right now about hormones, right? And Dr. Tasha from Canada. And interestingly, we don't just train doctors in the United States. We train doctors from Canada, Australia, and other countries as well. So, you know, if you're a provider and you're watching this, or you have a doctor who's a family member that you know are dealing with this, or is interested in this, just put certification or providers or certification in chat. We'll get the information to you. Okay. Now, let's break the lid open here. Number one, okay, we just went over some of the symptoms related to POTS dysautonomia and long haul. And you notice when we describe all those symptoms, look long haul, look up dysautonomia and look up POTS. It describes the symptom list of all three are the same of what we just described. So are we just using different words to describe the same thing? Yes.
Yes.
We are. And the other, that's why I was like, did you know? And then here's the other part of this. Part of my story is a very big teaching moment, which is that can an infection, a super infection like long haul, right? Can it do something that triggers, what is it doing that's triggering these POTS and dysautonomia-like symptoms? Here's a story of a lovely lady who got long haul and got her hormones checked right now. Anyway, what I found out when I checked my hormones was I had a very specific pattern. And I was like, whoa, I can't believe just after 3 months of long haul that my pattern really shifted to this pattern, right? And by addressing that pattern, I was able to turn it around really, really quickly. And I have done many training videos around long haul and have ended many cases of long haul. If you're interested in getting more resources, training materials around long haul POTS and dysautonomia, write resources in chat. We'll get those to you, okay? Because we have case study after case study after case study. But Kathy, I have said this on all those long haul training videos is that there's something about super virus like the Big C. It actually shuts off hormone production for anywhere from 3 to 18 months. Write this down, everybody. I'm the only doctor who's going to tell you this because I have the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tests, hormone testing to show that, okay? So it's shocking the level. So it's really shocking the level of impact that an infection like that. I'm going to tell you, the Big C is not just an upper respiratory infection. You know that. How many of you know when you got it that you had a lot of gut symptoms? How many of you start to develop more food sensitivities? How many of you started to develop histamine or mast cell-like symptoms after the Big C? Right?
Brain fog that won't resolve, all these things. Yeah.
It's related. So the Big C and many other super infections not only infect upper respiratory, can it infect the gut? Can it impact your immune system in a way where your allergic immune system starts to revs and go crazy? Yes. Now, can it infect your hormone? Can it infect and impact your hormone making organs? And the answer is yes, yes, and hell yes. Okay. And we see this happen every single day with people we work with. Okay. In our programs. Right. So let's talk about something let's talk about adrenal hormones. How many of you out there know what I'm talking about? How many of you know that you have had problems with your adrenals? Type in chat adrenals, right? I love that, Jess, you are a smarty pants in chat from YouTube. Those of you watching from YouTube, thank you. And if you're not watching us from YouTube, go watch us from YouTube, you know. But Jess, watching from YouTube, by the way, give me a subscribe or on YouTube if you can, and or everybody watching YouTube, give me a boom in chat. I want to know how many of you are watching from YouTube. So Jess said, allegedly, this caused my POTS. I'm wondering if she's saying, oh, she's talking about exposures, environmental exposures. Got it, right? So, and she mentioned adrenals as well. So let's talk about what are the adrenals, okay? So adrenals is one of the biggest missing link in MD, conventional medical doctor training. In a MD world, I was a family medicine practitioner the first 10 years of my 28-year career. And then the last 18 years, I've been a functional medicine doctor, an MD as well. Okay, continuing MD, I just got all the training on all the natural medicine and laboratories and data that's associated with it. And I put them together, okay? MD smarts with all the holistic and laboratory training that's associated with that, put it together. That's what a functional medicine MD is. That's how I describe myself. So what we found was with the adrenals, from a medical MD standpoint, it's either all or nothing. So if it's crazy ass high, we call it Cushing's. If it's nothing, we call it Addison's, which both are extremely rare. Extremely rare. Like in my career, I have only seen one case of true Addison's, right? That's how rare this is. And I see the worst cases of adrenal problems. I'm just telling you. And Cushing's. So the testing that MDs provide is only made to diagnose all or none. That's it, nothing in between. Well, everybody that we're talking about here with POTS, dysautonomia, and long haul, the pattern is in between. What is in that space in between? And what that space in between adrenals.
Just to clarify, your adrenals are what really help you regulate your stress. Okay. So I'm not talking just stress that makes you want to pull your hair out. It's any kind of physical, mental, physiological, any kind of stress on your body. It's your adrenals that are going to keep that stress in check, allow you to adapt and be okay with the stress. Okay. And it's your adrenals that produce cortisol to help you combat or deal with the stress. And so what Dr. Maggie is saying is either you've got really high cortisol or low cortisol. Those are the only two times that the doctors are actually going to look at you.
No cortisol. Wait,
no
I'm not even saying high or low. I'm saying like nuclear level or nothing.
Or
That's
nothing.
The only thing we can diagnose.
When there's a whole spectrum in the middle.
There's a whole spectrum in the middle that has major impact. And this is really interesting. And Tammy, we're going to circle back to your case there. I love the chat and how you guys are playing full out there, because Tammy mentioned that her daughter has POTS symptoms and she's just going to just live with it.
Ding,
now,
ding,
how is this linked with Tammy's mom having Addison's, an adrenal problem of no adrenal hormone production? The plot thickens. There's a total connection. And in fact, if mom had Addison's, the likelihood Tammy is having some major hormonal issues herself, that's genetically based. And then we got these triggers on top of it, right? And then Tammy's daughter now is being diagnosed with POTS with symptoms she needs to live with. Is there a connection between all three generations of these women with their adrenals and the hormones? And the answer is
yes, yes, and hell yes.
Yes, yes, and hell yes. So I love this, right? So let me explain the adrenals more, or if Kathy wants to jump in. The adrenals make hormones. Okay, there are many different organs in our body that make hormones. We have adrenals that make hormones. We got sex hormones being made by our sex organs. We got thyroid hormones. We got brain hormones. We got pancreas, blood sugar hormones. There's a lot of hormones going around. But the adrenals is a missing link because MDs don't know how to test it. Well, do you test it? Hell yes. How do you test it? Well, we test it. You can't do it through blood. So we go through all the different ways in which you can test for your adrenals accurately, not through blood, but specifically I like saliva, and what we go into on the Hormone Reset Week, exactly why. Okay, that's really critical. And the thing is, just getting the test ain't going to solve the problem. And this is what Dr. Tasha, Kathy, we're talking about. Like, to truly be an adrenal hormone expert, you need to understand all the variation of patterns in the adrenals that speaks volumes as to underlying what the cause is. It's not just high or low adrenals. It's not just stage 1, 2, or 3. Okay. A lot of what we do is we actually work with, I call it 3 sets of data from every client. Okay. Data isn't just, oh, this one lab result. Okay. So what are the 3 sets of data? Does anyone need to know? Can anybody in chat name one set of data? I talk about this in all my lives. I talk about it in the programs and with all our clients. What are the 3 sets of data that constitute this pot we call data, right? Anybody? So, oh my God, Rhiannon, I love you. Hawaii is jumping in. So Rhiannon's from Hawaii, and she's working with us. So history, past medical history, right? So Tammy's providing, like, let's say I was working with Tammy's daughter. Her daughter's past medical history is a really important piece of data. It's not to be ignored. You don't know how many times when we ask these data questions, history questions, they've never been asked. Okay, you'd be astonished. No, you just be saddened. So number 1 is past medical history. Number 2, Tammy said it, family history. How relevant do you think Tammy's mother's history of Addison's is in her daughter's recovery and story and solutions?
Just a little bit. Yeah.
This is where I wish I had an iMac where I'm just like huge and something explodes everywhere, right? So there's 2 sets of data, past medical history, family history, and number 3 is then the actual data, which is what Rhiannon said, which is what does your saliva hormone results show? Because when you have the 3 pieces of data, then a picture and a pattern emerges that's really unique. It's like a fingerprint of each individual person as to the why this is happening and how we can solve it. Kathy.
Yeah, I mean, the adrenals, like you said, it's the missing piece. And when we're talking about POTS specifically, we're talking about the autonomic nervous system, right? Yeah. We're talking about, most people have learned this in high school, where you've got the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system.
Yep.
And anytime we're talking about dysautonomia or POTS or long haul, we're talking about problems with that system. And the adrenals are intricately linked in the handling or the managing of that system.
So I'm going to say this, okay? I have so much to say about the adrenals and what a role it plays and what an opportunity it is. So don't miss the opportunity to become a adrenal hormone expert, working with an expert, so you can take a look and see that fingerprint and understand the underlying causes, and then have hundreds of tools knowing how to fix that. So that's really huge. Now I'm going to explain some mechanics around the adrenals. And if it's too much scientific for you, it's okay. Ignore it. If you are a science nerd and you love to understand mechanisms, I'm going to just explain something. Okay. How does the adrenals have to do with all these POTS symptoms? Okay. The adrenal creates a hormone called cortisol. Okay. Cortisol is one of the main hormones that actually contributes to blood pressure. Okay, just so you know, blood sugar and blood pressure. The adrenal medulla, another part of the adrenal, makes other hormones like what we call adrenaline. The medical name is epinephrine. Okay, it also makes other similar molecules like norepinephrine and epinephrine. Guess what epinephrine affects? Anyone know what epinephrine or adrenaline impacts? Okay. Heart rate. Just bring it on, science. There you go. Heart rate. Okay. So if someone has these weird adrenal patterns, right? They're not weird to me. Abnormal, completely abnormal and unacceptable adrenal patterns that are missed or ignored. When I see that, how do you think these cortisol hormones or adrenaline being up and down in an abnormal rhythm or pattern, how do you think that impacts on blood pressure and heart rate? And then you go to a cardiologist and they tell you, your heart's fine, nothing's wrong with you. Meanwhile, nobody bothers to even look at your adrenals. What kind of opportunity do you think is being missed here? Huge. And just as roller coaster, right? Huge. All the roller coaster. And not to mention the adrenal with the cortisols, with the adrenaline, the epinephrine or epinephrine. These play a role in brain hormones. So you think you're going crazy with anxiety, or you think you have brain fog, or you feel like you're coming down with dementia. You're not. Your brain hormones are being hijacked. Totally hijacked. because there's an underlying adrenal problem. Okay. So I'm going to ask, how many people are committing here based on the education you're learning right now that you're going to do something about your adrenals? Put commit in chat. Who needs to commit to doing something about their adrenals, right? Put commit in chat, because you know what? I want to play full on and work with you guys next week for an entire week, every single day, going over, these really game-changing concepts and what you can do about it, right? There we go. Next, are we going to talk about sex hormones?
Absolutely. It's only kind of the other biggest piece of the puzzle.
Right. So what I learned when I started looking at not only my hormones, but everybody else's hormones was really similar, was how much of a sex hormone crash happened as a result,
Yeah. And here's the interesting thing is that we're seeing these hormone crashes, not just in older menopausal women,
18-year-olds.
We're seeing them like Tammy's daughter, 16-year-olds,
Yeah.
18-year-olds, at 18-year-old prime health athletes. Like, we're talking prime of their life.
I have an interview. I just interviewed Sanaya. Like, she's around 23, 24, I believe. And she was going through nurse practitioner school to become a healthcare provider. And she had to take a medical leave because at the prime of her life, going through her medical training, boom, POTS came on. And doctors told her there was nothing they can do about it. Truly, there was nothing they can do about it. Really incredible interview, and I can't wait for you guys to see that. But it is the prime of your life. It doesn't have to be during what I call hormonally vulnerable times, but it can be, right? So I see 13-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 27-year-olds, right? There's one group there where it's prime of your life, men and women that boom, suddenly get hit with this. And there might be triggers, for example, like they had long haul, something is going on, some sort of infection.
Like Emma.
Right?
Emma, who was walking with a cane. She's 21, I think. Walking with a cane, had to leave school, was staying in her parents' house, couldn't work. And within a very short amount of time, she was completely independent. She threw her cane away. She was back.
But her hormones, Emma's hormones, what I would say, and I don't say it lightly when I say this, I was like, Emma, you have hormones of an 85-year-old.
Yeah.
She really did. That is inappropriate. And to me, that's just plain wrong that her hormones were never freaking evaluated. None of the questions on her past medical history, family history was asked, and nor did she have the data around her hormones. And this was a completely solvable case. Yep. Solvable problem. She was a completely solvable case. She's driving. She has a job. She's going to do international teaching and traveling. Boom. Right. So what I see is the sex hormones can be really shut down for anywhere from 3 to 18 months inappropriately. Now, how do you evaluate sex hormones? Well, it's not accurately being evaluated out there by medical doctors. None of them would test their hormones. And when I see people that have their hormones tested after seeing something like this from me, they'll get some blood testing done. Wrong time, wrong day, not even the right times of the day at all. And they're told your hormones are fine. And they're like, oh, I guess I don't need hormone help. I am going to light a fire under everyone's ass here. Okay. Do not just limit common hormone problems to having hormone problems. Don't just think it's just my periods. It's just my heavy periods. You may have those, right? A lot of people think it's just my periods. It's just hot flashes. It's just this. It's just that. No, if you have post dysautonomia or long haul, your hormones suck and you need help. I really want to drive that home. And I am a fan of the cursey words. So I'm sorry if I've offended anyone with virgin ears.
Tammy says we had tons of blood tests done, all normal. So here's one of my favorite, this is a Kathyism that I say all the time, is that just because something is common doesn't mean that it's normal.
Exactly.
Right? It's not optimal. And if it's not optimal, it can be contributing to your symptoms. So I'll just leave you with that.
I'm going to ask people in chat, and I'm going to ask every single one of you, because I see a lot of alumni in chat. Thank you for all the alumni that are here right now. Whether it's you that had POTS, long haul, or dysautonomia, or you saw someone in the program, when we reviewed their blood work in the labs, were they normal? Quote unquote. Type in chat. Okay. I see Joe in chat, right? Sanaya, I was just talking about you. Oh my God. I wish I could just pull her in here right now. I'd be like, I wish we could send her a link and she could just drop in and share her story, because Sanaya, I mean, your story is so powerful, and your mom's role in bringing you into the program is just there are two heroes in that story. So I love your story. I can't wait for it to share it. I wish people in the background could bring Sanaya in and add her into here. But Sanaya, share your results and where they're at right now. It's just for the team, everybody. I love it. Right. So I asked the question, were any of these people with POTS, long haul dysautonomia, were their labs in fact normal blood work? Right. And Amber said, nope. This is her on her own labs. Kimberly says, never on her own labs. Sanaya says, nope, on her own labs. Janice was like, hell no, on her own labs. All right. So I want to show you by real case studies and real examples that what they call normal out there is not. What do you say, Kathy? Use your Kathyism on that one.
What? I just missed that.
So normal is non-optimal. Everybody.
Oh yeah, normal's not optimal. Normal and common are not the same things.
I love educating people around what truly optimal really is, and not one person here that has been responding in chat who have struggled with symptoms of POTS, long haul dysautonomia had normal labs. Never. So Tammy, I want to give you a boost here to say, Mom, you are on the right track. And her labs are not freaking normal, nor her hormones. And she has a fixable problem. Cross my heart.
Doesn't have to live with it. That's
okay.
weird.
So that wraps up around sex hormones. But I do want to point something out, though, which is something I call, I'm going to put a bonus here. Okay. And I'm going to go into this next week on the hormone reset, just letting you know. So if you want to join me on the hormone reset, we still have some seats available, and you can join it to work live with me next week. But something that I'll be exploring next week and talking about, I'm just giving you a little crumb here, is what I call hormonally vulnerable times. Mm-hmm. Meaning that when you start thinking about your own medical history, did your POTS, long haul dysautonomia, or mystery symptoms or any sort of chronic disease start during these times? Number one, certain times of the month during your periods, do they flare? Right? Number two, what about after you deliver a baby? I just talked to somebody who has postpartum depression and was written off, right? Because it wasn't the same time as anybody else. It should be right after delivery, right? Nope. Can even happen up to a year later. Trust me, I know, right? So and her hormones were never checked. Guess what I'm doing first thing with her? Just getting her hormones checked.
Yes.
Cross my heart here, right? So what was I on, Kathy? We're going through hormonally vulnerable time. So number 3, what about perimenopause, which is the time between anywhere? Kathy?
Somebody just mentioned that. Will we be talking about perimenopause during the reset? Was their question.
Well, yes, absolutely. Anybody between, and listen to the age range, between the age of 38 to 58 could be perimenopausal. Mm-hmm. Okay. How many of you during that time frame notice hormonal changes and then all these other types of mystery symptoms, POTS, long haul dysautonomia, coming on that time frame, and it coincided with what felt like hormone havoc in your body? And I'm going to tell you, you're not crazy, you're not fat, and you're not mean. Okay, your doctors are just misinformed.
Yeah.
Okay, because I could tell you right now, and we're going to dig into that next week, is that these are times when hormones are really fluctuating fast, just like with long haul. When you get infected with a big C, your hormones really change fast. The rate of change of that is what triggers something like POTS to come on, autoimmune issues to come on, right? And mast cell histamine intolerance. I'm telling you, this is a pattern.
Oh, yes. Mast cell. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is a pattern we see over and over again. So sex hormones have everything to do with it. And then finally, I'm going to put in the third big hormone is thyroid. How many people are dealing with thyroid-related, endocrine-related issues with that? Type in chat, right?
And here's the thing. I have a feeling that a lot of people are like, oh, no, I don't have a thyroid problem. I've been tested. I don't
Okay.
have a thyroid problem. How many people come through our program? What percentage come through our program? They're like, no, my doctor tested my thyroid. I got a full thyroid panel. I'm fine. And we're like, no, actually, you have a thyroid
Oh,
autoimmune condition.
okay. Look what Jess says. So I'm going to ask anybody who's worked with us this question. All right. And then I will reveal the statistic. Okay. I'm going to ask the question, but I'm going to say this. What percentage of people with long haul POTS and dysautonomia actually have a true thyroid problem that their doctors did not find? Right? What percentage do you think that is with the hundreds and hundreds of people we've worked with and solved this problem for? Type in chat what you think that percentage is, right? Because, and if you don't know, I'm going to ask the alumni this. Anybody who's worked with us to solve their issues with this, how many of you turned out thyroid was a major linchpin? Type thyroid in chat.
Can I tell you what happened to me today while they're doing that? I was just talking with one of my really good friends, and she's going through fertility treatments. And so we were just talking. I said, okay, what are your thyroid numbers? And she told me what her TSH is. And I said, what about your T3? And she said, my doctor won't test that. For fertility issues, my doctor won't test that because all she thinks is to look at the TSH.
Can I talk about the infertility issue really quickly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Major hormone imbalance, right? That doctors don't know how to treat the root causes of this. I'm really happy. Some of you guys saw me share on Instagram, saw me share on Facebook. Roxy and her husband, Lucas, are expecting their baby in less than, I think at this point, 6 or 7 weeks. That will make Transform baby number 17. I call these the miracle babies of Transform, which is hormones can absolutely and must absolutely need to be balanced, and people need to understand what the underlying root causes are. And even something as devastating as infertility or miscarriage is a solvable problem. Yeah. Transform baby number 17. Big celebration. Yeah. Back to thyroid. Okay. So I'm seeing some guesses here. Somebody said 99%, right? And I thought it was really interesting. Tammy was also talking about her daughter was told her thyroid labs were normal. Okay. And I'm a fan of cursey words because this issue makes me, this does fire me up. I think that's BS. I really do. Because you know why? I know that's BS. Because 90% of people who come in with POTS, long haul, dysautonomia, mast cell histamine intolerance, okay, and any autoimmune diagnosis have an underlying thyroid problem that they didn't know about.
Boom.
It's like,
you know, we've been working together too long.
It's like, oh my God. Okay. Oh, holy crap. How did we get this? Sanaya, I'm adding you to the stage. Holy crap. Okay. How did that? I'm thinking for producers. Sanaya, I was sharing your story in our interview. Can you just share with the audience, like, Sanaya, I mean, I already mentioned, how old are you?
I'm 23.
20. I got the age right. I can't believe it. Okay. 23-year-old in nurse practitioner school. And did you get the diagnosis of POTS or dysautonomia, or did you not get the diagnosis?
No, I didn't get it until I was in the program. And at that point, it was worthless.
Because it's not necessary, right? And what were your symptoms like prior to working with us?
Oh my gosh. So like I touched in the interview, it started with the neurological symptoms, which they were claiming were migraines, paresthesia, presyncope, light sensitivity, noise sensitivity. I couldn't go anywhere without thinking I'm going to faint or pass out, tachycardia, you name it, I had it. And I had every test done under the sun and no diagnosis, nothing. They were just like, your life is like this is what it is. And this is the best we could do for you, which was nothing.
Can I touch in with you on what I talked about first was about belief? Did you believe that you could get better? Number one, did you believe you could get better?
In the beginning, no. I had lost all hope, and I kind of was just believing maybe this is all in my head and I'm making this up and no one can help me, because after you see like 20 specialists, then you go to every ER and you're considered a freaking flyer at that point. You're like, yeah, no one can help me. There's no hope.
I'm actually getting emotional.
I know. But
Yeah.
this is the typical story that people with POTS, long haul dysautonomia get. I mean, this is not an unusual unicorn story. And tonight, I mean, I'm looking at Tammy N's story about her daughter. I mean, you are her daughter. Like,
Yeah, no, there's so many out there. It's just magnifying, and so many more people are struggling with this, and there's just like no resources, no education. Our doctors don't know any better. It's just a really sad situation. I wish everyone could
well,
get connected with you and truly believe that like this works. This is the answer.
well, I mean, we talk about belief. Like, you didn't believe that you could get better. Did you even believe that there was a doctor on the planet that knew what she was doing and could fix this problem? Did you believe that?
Absolutely not. When my mom showed me you, I was like, "Mom, are you sure? Like, where'd you find Maggie?" And I was very hesitant because I just, like you said, lost all belief, all hope.
Yeah. And I remember you kind of had an attitude the first week or two.
I was not a happy person. I was so irritable. It was not personal. It was with my family, my friends, my poor niece and nephews. They're like 5 years old, and I'm just a grouch, literally the Grinch. I'm miserable.
I mean, I could have nicknamed you RBF.
Yes. Yes. That was very appropriate at the time. Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about hormones. So how big of an issue was hormones for you?
Oh my gosh, so significant. I had no hormones. I had low everything, which is a pattern we learn in the program.
Yep.
And I was stage 2 adrenal fatigue. If I hadn't seen you sooner, probably stage 3.
Yeah.
And definitely there is some correlation between, your menstrual cycle. The days before leading up to it, I was a hot mess.
Yep.
In the ER, not doing great. So hormones are huge, despite what doctors may tell you, because I had my hormones tested via blood and they were perfect. They were in range, and they told me there's no correlation here. You're great. And I was like, okay.
Perfect. Perfectly shitty.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
And I mean, and then we mentioned thyroid. I don't know if there was any issue with your thyroid. You saw other people. I was curious, were there did you find any issues with your thyroid?
No. Thankfully my free T3 was right where I needed to be. Yes.
Great. So, for her, so hormones was big. What do you think? Were there any other major if there were there surprise linchpins that you learned? And you're being educated to be a healthcare provider. You're in the healthcare field. So were there any surprises for you during the program that was a major linchpin for your POTS symptoms?
Food mapping. Food is
huge.
If you're constantly eating the things that trigger you specifically, there's just no way. Like how you said, you're just creating an internal hell in your digestive tract every day. And that's what I was doing.
So, a lot of people, we have a food mapping solutions program. And my question for you was, a lot of people think coming in that because they are working with us on food, that they're here to eliminate more and more food. And my question for you was, what did you learn with your data from working with us with food mapping?
Yeah, I actually learned that some of the things I was staying away from, I didn't have to. And like I stayed away from salads like all my life because I thought I was allergic to lettuce because I would always get sick. And the whole time it was the croutons, the gluten in from the croutons. So yeah. So many things and so many fruits, and I just brought them all back. It was like one fruit, it was gluten and it was dairy, and I'm fine.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Right? I really want to, I know we weren't here to talk about food mapping and all that, but I just want to, I want to give the audience, those of you watching, more. And I want you to realize there's so many pieces to this, right? I really focus on root causes. And I'm going to ask you, how quickly did your symptoms resolve? How quickly did your symptoms resolve from you starting with us with the RBF to improvement? How quickly did that happen?
I would say 6 weeks. And I even touched on it in my interview. I think because my family was seeing it, because, I live with them and they're very attentive. They're very involved. Like you mentioned, my mom specifically. I think she noticed week 4, but mentally I still had that like that wall up, and I wasn't accepting that things were changing. And until that mindset shifted, I was like, wait, I'm doing things I couldn't even do 2 weeks ago, and I feel happier, and life doesn't suck anymore.
Well, when you say life doesn't suck anymore, I just want you to share results. Where are you at now? And a lot of people think, oh my God, maybe it's just improved for a little while and then it's not better. How many months out are you right now?
I am 2 months, gonna be 3 months out.
2, 3 months out from when we were working together on these issues. And where is your fatigue?
Oh, I don't have any fatigue.
Where's the neurological headache and numbness, paresthesias, and tingling?
Gone.
Where's the vertigo and dizziness?
Gone.
Okay, heart rate stuff, up and down, blood pressure changes.
I don't even wear an Apple Watch, so I couldn't even tell you because I don't feel it.
Boom. Okay, so Sanaya, if there was tons of people coming in from YouTube and from Facebook and Instagram that says they were committing to doing something hormonally about their POTS long haul dysautonomia. How important do you think it is for everybody out there to hear this message about hormones and its connection with POTS long haul dysautonomia? How important is this issue?
It's so important, and it's probably one of the only places you're going to hear it because so many doctors do not believe that there's a correlation, and it's 1,000,000% there is. And there is no better time than now, because I personally do not know where I would be if I would have lived the life I was living for one more month.
And what are you thinking about with the schooling? I know you are on a medical sabbatical. You had to take a leave. What are you thinking about right now?
I have discussions. I have meetings planned for April. We're going to discuss. We're going to work to get me back in the program for the fall.
Boom.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
This is a yes, yes, and a hell yes. Sanaya, I mean, this is an unexpected surprise. I saw you in the comments, and I don't know how the behind the scenes, my team got you the link to join. But my goodness, thank you for blessing us today with your story. And
I have one more question for Sanaya.
Yeah.
Before you joined the program, how many other people did you know with POTS?
One other person. Yeah. And that's because I was searching, because I was like, I can't be like how Maggie says, this random zebra. There has to be someone else, but one other person.
Yeah. So I asked this question. The reason I asked you is I asked this question in our group, in one of our masterminds the other day, to the whole group. And right now we have about 80% of the clients that we have enrolled in our main program have POTS or dysautonomia or long haul, any of those. And I asked them, how many of you knew somebody else that had POTS before you joined the program? And nobody did. So just even the fact that when they come in, they're like, oh my gosh, there's other people here. They're doing the same thing. I'm able to see someone who's 8 weeks ahead of me in the program and their changes. They were telling me how much of a difference it makes, because they went from not knowing anyone else who was dealing with what they're dealing with to suddenly having a whole community of people with this same issue.
Yeah, the community is such an important part of healing too.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I was talking to Sanaya about belief, and this is something I'm going to really touch on next week, working with every one of you out there. If you're not joining me for the hormone reset, why are you not? Click the link, join it. Come on, me, you in a room. But one of the things I really want to touch on is that belief piece. Because for Sanaya, sometimes we can become our lack of belief in ourselves or in a solution could be sometimes our biggest obstacle or only obstacle, right? And if that's your only obstacle and all the other tools are there, I think that's great. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that is a real piece. It's just even believing that you could get better. So Sanaya, congratulations on your results. And thank you for showing up in here and talking to our audience. And I can't believe we got you pulled in here.
That's so great.
Yes, I'm so happy I was here. Your program is absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful to you, Dr. Maggie, Kathy, Dr. Beatty, and Allie. Allie's amazing, the nutritionist. Yep. You guys are amazing. And thank you for the work that you guys all do. It is so appreciated, so necessary. So I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you, Sanaya.
Thank you.
Man, I did not expect
that. Technology is great, man.
I would call that spontaneous piece of wow, that was a great surprise. All right, so back to hormone connections. I hope you guys got the message. Did you get the memo? Because I want you to type whatever the biggest aha and takeaway today from today's live is. How are hormones the missing link in anyone dealing with POTS, long haul dysautonomia? Name one way. Name one way. Type it in chat. And then I have a ask. Okay, I have a personal ask of you, which is that is there someone you know that could benefit from seeing this? Right? Click the share link and share it with them. Right? And if you loved watching this and getting educated on this just as much as I did, make sure you click subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the notification so you get notified every time we go live here. I mean, I love the numbers that we have live today. It's been incredible. And the chat is just going nutso and crazy. This juices me up and fires me up, gets me really excited. And just as a final reminder, next week, I want to see all of you, meet you in a room, meet you, Kathy, in a room. We're going to click the link or use the QR code right here, claim your seat, join us for the week-long workshop together. We're going to make all these connections and we're going to go deep dive in 5 days to reset your hormones. And I just wanted to, I want to brag a little bit. I want to brag a little bit about what my team has put together, and it's this baby, okay? This baby right here, okay? And tomorrow, those that are already in the community, in the group, that's where we're running this challenge. There's many of you already in the group. Those of you who haven't joined the challenge and are not in the group, I hope to create major serious FOMO because there's a lot happening in the group. Tomorrow, this is going out for everybody in everybody's email inbox tomorrow, and it's the guide that's going to accompany our entire week playing Fallout together. And I'm just going to tell you, there's so many things here going on. There's action steps, reflection. Day 2, we went over day 2. What we were doing last time was eat sexy was day 2, and number 3 was, guess what it was on? Sleep. How many people have sleep insomnia issues, right? So there's a full guide here, and there's even hormone checklist of surprising hormone symptoms, men, women, any age that you don't even know about. So there we go. So I want this to get this in every single one of your hands so that you can play full out with us next week. So if you want to join us in the hormone reset, just type reset in chat and we'll hook you up. All right, everybody? Kathy, any final words?
No, I think this was amazing. I just love that Sanaya was here and we covered, we covered quite a bit of ground tonight, and I'm super excited to be able to really dive in deeper on all these issues next week because we got the whole week to do it. So we're going to really, really blow the lid off things, as you like to say.
Everybody, if you're already registered and you're in, put I'm in chat. I want to know who's in. Everybody, YouTube has been blowing up the chat. So Facebook, you're behind. Come on in. I want to see who's already in because I'm in. And that is a wrap, everybody. We will be seeing you next week. Thanks, everybody. See you in the hormone reset.